Hey, Stories of the Way friends. I just wanted to tell you this episode this week and the episode next week will actually be an interview that I'm breaking up into two parts that I did with my friend Daniel in Sierra Leone back in November. Been waiting for a really good time to share this, and I'm excited to share it now. Just a couple things. First, this first episode this week, Daniel's going to share some of his story, and some of his story may be hard for young ears to listen to, but I think it's important to hear some of the things that he's walked through in his life. And so just know that, take note of that as you're listening. And then second, just know that if you have questions or if you, as always, want to know more about what's going on in the world or how you can be used in a meaningful way for the kingdom of God in the community of the church, please just head over to storiesoftheway.com and drop us a line there, connect with us there, and we would love to connect you with community or people who are running in the same direction towards Jesus. So with that said, enjoy this week's episode. I can't wait for you to hear Daniel's story. So I'm in Sierra Leone with Daniel Biahi.
Exactly.
You say it.
Daniel Biahi.
I mean, I got close.
Yes.
I was close to it. And met Daniel last December when I was here, and Daniel traveled around the country. And seriously, there was a day we were saying, you might not even remember this, but there was a day, I think we had visited a school. We were standing in a place a church had been planted, and you talked about prayer for probably, like 40, 45 minutes. And I just remember I couldn't soak it in enough, man. Like some of the things you were saying about prayer, some of the stories you were telling that happened through prayer. And immediately, I mean, we had hung out with each other that day, and immediately I was like, this is a brother, man. Like, this is somebody that I have to hang out with. And I also need to thank you because my daughters were with me on that trip.
Yeah.
And you made such an impact on them, man. Like, and yes, beautiful human being, amazing person. Your commitment to prayer and the things of Jesus, man, they still talk about it.
Wow.
And so,
Praise God.
man, and we were talking yesterday, and you were, there's so many things that I would love to, I'm going to have to come back and we'll have to just talk some more.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, first of all, kind of share your story a little bit, how you came to faith. Like, how old were you? How did you come to Jesus? How did that happen?
Yeah, actually, I'm Daniel James Biahi. I am from the Shabro tribe. That is people that live by the coast. My tribe actually mainly live on fishing. My mom is from the Mende tribe, while my dad is a Shabro. But here you belong to your father's tribe and not your mother's tribe. We are more like Patana and not Matana. So you inherit from Patana. You inherit nothing absolutely from Matana. So inheritance purely is from Patana. So my dad was a Muslim. He did not go to school. Likewise, my mom. They never attempted to go to school. Probably not because they didn't want to go, but because they had the opportunity to go. My dad was a village businessman. He gave back to us and asked us, I'm giving you, my background. He has to ask because he was having many wives, so he always asked the mother to decide to take care of you or to send your children to school. Which one do you choose? So among the 5 wives that my father had, only my own mother, our own mother, decided to say, don't take care of me, just send my own children to school.
Wow.
So among my siblings to the same father, it is only my own mother's children that went to school.
Okay.
That's the first thing.
Okay.
None of the others did not go to school. So, and if you say you are not going to the English school, then you have no other option but to go to the Arabic institution.
And
as a Muslim.
And you went to?
I did not, because my mother chose that I should go to English school.
Okay, yeah.
So there was no need for me to go to Arabic school.
So your father was a Muslim?
My father was a Muslim.
But your mother said English school?
Yes. So, but that does not stop you from being a Muslim.
Okay.
So That is the background that I came from. So my mother, I am the firstborn to my mother, but not to my father. I am not even the fifth to my father's. So my mother decided that we should go to school, and she will help the father with whatever my father can raise to take care of us in school.
If I would have asked you when you were a kid going to school, if I would have said, "Are you a Muslim?" what would you have said?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I was a Muslim. I was still praying and fasting, going to the mosques,
Okay.
having my 5 daily prayers.
Yes.
So that nothing stopped me. Going to English school does not stop
You're
me.
still Muslim.
Yes, I was still Muslim. I was a Muslim even onto my high school.
Okay.
I was a Muslim even until when I sat to my public exam to go to university.
Okay.
It was at that juncture. But by then now, my father died during the rebel war. In the initial act because the rebel war entered Sierra Leone around 1991, March. So by 1993, I lost my dad. And my paternal family was killed. They were killed, actually.
During the war?
During the war by the rebels. My dad, my grandmom, my granddad, my uncles, my aunties to my paternal. So all of them were in the village, so they had to kill them.
So were they all killed at the same time?
At the same time, by the same people.
And why were you not killed?
Because I wasn't there.
You weren't there?
It was this English institution, this English school, that God used to save me. I was in Bo in the city while they were in the village. So I came here schooling.
So because your mother said to your father,
Yes.
don't pay for me. I want you to send.
Don't take care of me.
I want you to send Daniel to school.
Yes.
You weren't there.
I wasn't there. So, and my mom actually is the second to last wife.
Okay.
So she has senior wives ahead of her.
Okay.
So her own children we were small, young during the war. Before the advent of the war, we are still small, we are still young, while the others, the senior wives' children, we are already matured people. Some of them even joined, initiated into the rebel movement, and they became, and some died during the process. So,
could you, and you don't have to go into detail because I know it's hard, but what happened to your family in your village? How did that happen? Because for those who are listening to this, even in America, there was a civil war. There was a war in Sierra Leone for about 11 years.
11 years, yes.
And it was brutal.
Brutal
conflict.
Very brutal.
And actually, even as we were traveling around this week, we went to a village where people who were affected by the war, and saw amputees and people who had lost, limbs and family. And it seems like as we travel around Sierra Leone, anyone, I'm 45, I think you're 51.
I'm 51.
Tell me you're 51.
Yes.
So anyone like my age and older has been affected by the war in some way. Like
sure.
Yeah. So your family, talk a little bit like the rebels came into the village. What happened?
Yeah. When the rebels came to our village, many people have to run away. But my dad, my family, and other families, we are like waiting to see how best they can talk to the rebels to protect the village. It's like having so many. My dad has several houses, though they were mud houses. The chiefs had several things to protect, so they say, okay, we will wait. When they come, we will talk to them. If they agree, they will call you from the bush. So they have to wait. And the second main thing is my dad had an ID card that was pro-government then. That the only political party that was in the country. He was kind of like a member at the village level. So because they saw that ID card, and when they came first, they were like saying the political party that was in power, which was the APC, All People's Congress, that have overstayed for 23 years. So they have come to fight them and remove them to power and bring democracy. That was how they deceived the people. So the ID card, identifying that ID card, and then just brutality coming on them, they decided that they have to kill everybody that they meet in the village. And they didn't want to waste their bullet. They say bullet is expensive, so they don't need to kill them with bullet. So they have to cut their heads one after the other. So they put all of them, even the chiefs. In fact, they started from the chiefs to tell you they don't have pity for you. So they don't recognize the leadership of the chief, neither their wisdom, anything so far. So they have to start from them, from the aged coming down to the chiefs and coming down to the other people.
And so the people in line had to watch.
Yeah. So everybody in line have to watch while the next one is being killed, and then they will call you next. So my mom was the only one that was saved.
Why?
Because there was this mysterious firing, gun sound at the entrance of the village, which the rebels thought that they were military men that have come to attack them. They were not using weapons to kill because they didn't want people to know that they are here, they are massacring people. So they were doing it quietly. Everybody's under gunpoint. They really had real life gun. They were supposed to kill with weapons, but they said their bullet is expensive. They don't use it on civilians. So they were killing them. Why doing that? My mom was the next person, the last and the next person in line.
And you told me yesterday, your baby sister was strapped to her back.
Yes, because what they do, they will kill the mother and leave the baby there. That's many times they will do that. They don't care whether the baby dies or not. During the war, they pick a lot of babies. They are alive. Their mothers, many of them were at the back of their mom, but their moms were dead, and the babies were alive. So people with heart will pick those babies, and those babies do not know their parents. Today they are still alive somewhere. Some people are there. They can tell you, they picked me from my mom. I don't know my mom. So
your mom was the next in line?
The next in line. And then that mysterious gunshot was heard rapidly, like random. But nobody saw any uniform or military person. And so the rebels have to leave them and run to the other side. My mom ran towards that gun sound. But till today, she told us she never met a military man, neither she see any other human being in the village that particular day.
Yeah.
And she entered to the bush with the baby at the back. Why? One of my younger brother was inside the house, watching the scene.
He was hiding.
He was hiding. He was a small boy by then. He was not even up to 10 years, but he was seeing, watching everything.
He saw everything.
He saw everything. He was kind of scared, nervous. At that age, he had to spend something like a week in the bush alone, with no direction from anybody. Because when mom ran away, mom did not know his whereabouts, and he did not know where mom has run. So he has to run to the bush to go to our farm. He was now staying at our farm because he knew the road then. So that was how my mom was saved. But it took my mom 8 to 10 years. She was still being traumatized.
Of course.
She was like hallucinating.
Of course.
She would go behind and say, I saw my husband. Oh, I saw your grandmother. He was here. He was talking to me. Oh, I saw your grandfather. So she was like in that situation for a very long time.
How old were you when this happened?
I was around 20 years.
And you were in Bo City?
I was in Bo already.
And how did you find out that this had happened?
When the thing actually happened, people, like other people who ran away to the bush, after a few days, somebody came to the village to see what has happened. So he now saw the bodies, the corpses. So he had to go to the others and told them, everybody is killed. Nobody's alive in the village. Everybody is dead. I saw them with my eyes. So many people came now. And there was no way to even give them a befitting burial. They left them there. Their corpses, animals just eat up everything. We buried the bones of our father because the person who saw where our dad was lying, he knew that this was our father dead here. So he has to tell us where the bones were. So we had to take the bones after 10 years before we just took the bone to some place.
Found the bones of your father.
Yes, and just bury it. So the person went with the news. So my mom was in the bush, not knowing about herself in that traumatic situation until she also decided to go back to the farm. That was where he now met my younger brother, who has also run to the same farm. So that was how they came to see themselves. Because she could not cry. She didn't have a voice to cry. She lost her memory of everything. My junior brother now found the mom at the farm because he was also like very careful, a lonely boy, scared of snakes, scared of any wild beast, scared of everything. But yet still he has the memory of our parents. He was there, he saw it. He knew dad was dead because he saw them killing dad.
And was your brother the one who told you?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was. He saw everything. So mom came back, and in that situation, the people that got the news tried as much as possible to reach onto the place where I was staying, the people I was staying with here in Bo. So they now sent the message to the man. And the man took over 3 months to try to find words, how to explain, how to narrate to me, how to really let me know that it's not only my dad.
Yeah, how do you tell somebody?
Yes.
That you haven't just lost a parent.
Yes.
You've lost everybody.
Everybody.
Brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, everybody, your entire village.
Somebody that's, one of my auntie that was killed, this was somebody that if only she would have been alive, I was going to pick up courage somehow, because she loved us so much. She loved us so much. Probably, okay, I would say more than that. But she was also killed.
And so, Daniel, you were 20 years old.
I was 20 years old.
And when you found out, so from 20, how did Jesus enter into your life? You know, you're a young guy.
Yes.
You're Muslim. You've lost your entire family. You're alone. I mean, at this point, you're alone.
Yes, I was alone. I didn't know where my mom was, in fact.
Yeah.
When I got the news, because they told us they don't also know where my mom is, but they didn't see her body. They knew she must have been alive, but where? There was nothing like communication. You can't have it during the war. If you have it, it's a terrible thing. Because that would have been the simplest thing for massacre. Because this telephone, mobile, small text, that people tell somebody you are here. It's terrible. It was good that it wasn't around. It was good that there was no network. My mom,
to find you. You know, like you're by yourself.
Yes, I was here in this town by myself. I used to go to the bush to find firewood, come and sell it, and get food to eat. Because what happened actually, God actually dealt with me. In the Advent, the only one I was here with, my uncle, I call my uncle, also died of asthma. Because the news, he could not also withstand it. Because my dad was like a very best friend to him. They used to do everything together. He used to go to the village and they'll go to the farm. They will laugh, go to do fishing. When my dad comes here, he used to go and accompany me. He was a teacher. He used to go and accompany me to school. My dad would be sitting in the staff room while he is teaching. After it, they will come back. They were kind of beyond blood brothers. He had asthma before. But this news, it was when he was not developing the frequent asthma that he now had to tell me that your dad is not alive. It's not only dad. A grandpa is also dead. Not only grandpa, grandma too is dead. Can I tell you that your whole family, we don't even know that your mom also is alive, but we are sure that the entire family. Because when the war came, you move by families to protect yourself, to keep together, to defend yourself. Our uncle, who was the most prominent young man in the village, was part of those who were killed. So I didn't believe. I thought he was lying to me. I thought it wasn't true. I thought somebody is just making up stories. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know at that time that I can lose my family. I needed my dad more because I was preparing to go to university. I needed him. I needed his support. I needed his encouragement. I needed everything from my dad. I knew he loved me. I was the only one going to school. My siblings were too young to go to school by then. He was kind of a friend to me because despite having many wives, because I chose to go to school, he had a special place in his heart for me. I knew it. But I lose him just in a day through the hands of some people who... My father was not a politician. He never went to school. He didn't know anything about the war. He was not kind of involved in any way. My father he never went to the city. Until his death, he never went to the city. So he had no connection. My grandfather only, I can say, he only visited this city once or twice in his lifetime. They were purely village people. He never had anything to do. But they were all just killed. Why? Nothing. Nobody can tell. They just choose to just kill people the way they want to kill. So
what happened next?
I was here suffering in that lonely mood, frustrated mood. So not having somebody to look after me, I had to go to where I want to go. I had to do whatever I feel like doing. So it was in the advent of that, Pastor Shidanke was having a prayer quake in one of our streets, on the main street. He organized it for 3 days. So I was kind of looking for satisfactions, anything that can, emotional, either healing, or I don't know what I needed actually. So I said, okay.
You're just wandering.
Yes.
You don't even know.
Let me go and look for women.
Yeah.
So it was, I went to the prayer quake, not because I wanted to hear the word of God, because kind of, I was far.
Yeah.
Because God was not, I was not thinking God was with me.
No.
Or he cares for me.
No.
Nobody cares for me. Nobody takes care. Nobody wants to know whether I go out or come in. Within that period, even if I would have been dead or been killed by anybody, nobody was going to ask anyone.
By yourself.
I was all by myself. So I went there. It was during having given the word of God and the exhortation before the prayers. He now make an altar call and say, despite everything that you might have been facing, God still cares. And he still loves you. That was the statement that brought me to the altar. And I went there. Not with my heart. I didn't know what took me to the altar, but I knew I just wanted to go there, just either like make mockery of God. I don't know. But it was never in my heart. I knew it was not in my heart. I just went there because he called. And then he made us pray the sinner's prayer and invited us the other morning to go there, and he had special discussions with us, those of us who were at the altar. Since I didn't have anything to do in the morning, it was like I had an appointment.
Yeah, you did.
So I went there. That was how I encountered. So from that meeting now, I now like changed my mind to say, okay, it's not a joke again. Let me at least be serious. So from that moment, the church became like a replacement to my family. So, and from that day, Pastor Shidanke has served that fatherly role in my life. He became the umbrella. He became the person I can report to if you hurt me in the street. He became the person I can say, I'm hungry and I want to eat. Those years, he was not also married yet. So we can go to his house. He give us money. We go to the market and buy, come and prepare a meal, and we eat.
One thing that we talked about yesterday when we were driving around is the idea of church as family.
Yeah.
And we actually sat down. We were processing so many things that God showed us yesterday, and that God talked to us. And sometimes in America, church talks about being family, but not in what you're talking about. Not like what you're talking about. That your brothers and sisters in Christ, that somebody like Shidanke would not in just a sense we talk about it in a literal sense, would become a father. Yeah. Like this would become your family.
Yeah.
How important in the church in Sierra Leone is that idea of family, togetherness?
Family in the churches is very important in Sierra Leone, because families are failing to play their role. The church becomes the hope. Because families can disappoint you. Families might not be happy when you are developing rapidly in the family alone. Mm-hmm. They might pass in mysterious ways to hurt you, to harm you, and it works. We have seen it. Mm-hmm. And so, but the church is not like that. In the church family, we behave like the Africans that we are supposed to be. I mean, if I'm hungry and I go to your house,
we're going to eat.
I'm going to eat, whether you are there or not.
Yeah.
That is how we do. I just asked, is my brother Chuck's there? They say, he's not around. Has the wife prepared me? Yes. Okay, yeah. Please, madam, give me some food to eat.
Yes.
And when you come back, she will tell you, honey, your brother came here and he was hungry. He has eaten your food.
Good.
And then you will say, okay, then go and buy me shawarma so that I will eat.
Yeah.
That's how we are living.
I've sensed that in... Last night we sat in a circle of 15, 16 leaders from different districts. And I just kind of observed. I took it all in. Just the way you guys interacted with one another, the way you guys loved one another.
Yeah.
More than that, man. Like the way you guys pray together.
Indeed.
It is unmistakably family. It is the fingerprint of family all over it. And man, I was really moved by it last night. I had to come spend some time and just sit and think about some of the ways that the Spirit was through this whole trip. One of the first things Jesus spoke to us as a group in our first prayer time here was this idea of unity and love.
Yeah.
It was thinking about Jesus and the high priestly prayer. Like the thing that he prayed for us was,
they'll be one.
Just want them to be one. Yeah. I want them to know each other and love each other. Mm-hmm. And there's a difference in, and we've talked about this some, there's a different version of Christianity that would say God just wants you to know a lot of stuff about him. Like somehow there's just a lot of facts you have to digest, and if you digest facts, you'll know God more. We were talking about knowledge.
Yeah.
But that's not how family works. That's not that's not even how I get to know you.
Yeah.
We just got to spend some time together,
Yeah.
We got to ride around Sierra Leone together.
Family operates not on sympathy but on empathy. I should be ready to sacrifice for you at any time, no matter what I'm doing, what I'm busy doing, no matter what is my agenda for the day. I should be ready to scrap my agenda at any point of the day and in time for one of my family members to be at peace. The peace of one family member should be the peace of everybody.
It's my peace.
When he is not at peace, you shouldn't be at peace. Then you are not a family member. If you feel comfortable, if you feel not moved, if you feel not touched with the tears of your brother, then you are not family. If your agenda supersedes the pain of your brother or your sister, you are not family. You are friends.
Would you say, when we think about this word church, we talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
Like we argue about it in America. Like, what is church? But like, when you get down to just the hot core of church, family.
Because we have the same Father.
We do.
We have the same Spirit.
We do.
So why don't we have the same emotional touch towards one another?
Yeah. Do you think that's why Jesus did a lot of his ministry around the table?
Exactly.
Mealtime.
Discourse.
We're going to sit as family.
They say, we have not paid tax. He said, then go and collect money and go and pay.
Yeah.
He didn't say go and find for yourself. He showed them where the money was.
Yeah. So that's a story in Scripture where he sends them and they find a coin in like the mouth of a fish.
Of a fish.
Yeah.
He had placed that coin there, knowing that somebody needs it, and the time was coming. Why didn't the fish knew that the coin was not a meal.
But it just held it.
Before it swallowed it.
It held it. So the disciples are concerned about money and tax.
Yes.
And Jesus is like, just go find this and then come back, let's eat.
He said, the first fish you remove, there's coin in it.
Come back and let's eat.
Come back.
Do you, so you responded to this call, not Muslim anymore. Shadonke has become a spiritual father.
Yeah.
And I want to talk a little bit because Daniel is part of a movement in Sierra Leone. It is not an overstatement to say it is one of the largest missional movements of the expanse of Christianity in the world ever. And now Daniel is a part of that. Yeah. Not only a part of that, Daniel is coaching and training and sending. He is over keeping up with all of the records of how far the movement has gone, how many people have come into the movement, how many churches have been planted. And so Daniel has been doing this for years. But going back to that time, when did you start getting the sense that this is more than a family? Like I'm called to pastor, I'm called to serve, I'm called to lead.
It was 1998.
Okay. How did that?
December.
Did Shadonke speak with you about that? Was that something that he was like, Daniel? Or is this something? How is this coming about?
At first, I used to have the urge to serve, to do this for souls. I used to live without telling Shadonke to go out to fellow Muslims and talk with them, to come to church. But I used to do it undercover. I didn't want Shadonke to know that I went to invite. I've gone to reach to people.
Why?
Because I didn't want to be pastor. I didn't want him to tell me that you have a call.
So you were doing it in secret.
Yes.
Because you're like, okay, I'm going to do this right now, but I do not want to be a pastor.
Yeah, exactly. I knew the lostness of the world. I came to realize through several teachings and training with Shadonke, I came to realize that I was in a lustful state, and there are others who are in the lustful state, like I was. So if I've come to know that truly Jesus is the life to every soul, then I will let them also be aware of that truth.
So you're an undercover missionary.
So that was how I started going out on Saturdays without saying goodbye to anybody. I'll go when they invite people. I tell them, don't go, don't say, please, if you go to church, they ask you who invited you. Just say, I was led. Say, God brought me here. So I didn't want them to know. And literally, but I used to pray, God, I don't want to be a pastor.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to be a pastor. I literally, God in heaven know that I prayed that prayer severally. But the more I prayed the prayer, the more I find myself doing the work. So it was in 1998.
Why? Was it just inescapable to you?
I just felt this can't be my destiny.
But you couldn't stop.
Yes.
You were compelled. You would wake up in the morning and say, I have to go to fellow Muslims and
pastors. It's not an admirable something.
Right.
You've got to live in perpetual poverty. You've got to live on people. And I didn't want that.
You have to trust that through other people God's going to provide for your needs.
Yes. So I said, okay, now that I lost my parent.
Yeah.
Why would I keep depending on people?
I want security.
I need something to hold on.
I want something I can that is solid that I can put. I've lost my family. I've been alone. I have fended for myself. God, I want to stand on something where I know tomorrow when I wake up thinking that your security was going to come from things.
Yes. In fact, I was not certain of anything at that time. Mm-hmm. I was not sure of anything. Not even where I would stay for the night.
Didn't know.
I went through some trauma.
Yeah, you did.
Because even where to stay. After the death of my uncle, the landlord has to ask us out. So one of the days I was walking along Prince William Street. We have a street we call Prince William Street. Mm-hmm. I was walking. I can still remember the point. Anytime I reach there, I remember those days. I was walking. And I tell God, please, bless me with a house.
Please.
That day, the landlord asked me, and I wasn't going anywhere. I don't know where I was going because I didn't know where will I go next. Who will I go to? The guys we went to the ghetto. Yeah. I stayed with a ghetto leader for some years.
Yeah, Daniel's saying we traveled to a ghetto too in Bo where they are working with recovery ministry. We went and visited those sisters. So one of those places.
One of those places. I stayed with the leader for some years.
Okay. That was home.
That was home.
Yeah.
One thing that God did for me, I had a strong resistance against drug. Mm-hmm. But I was an agent for him. I used to go and buy for him.
Yeah. And in the ghetto, drugs are everywhere.
Yes.
Like we saw it yesterday. Like
yes.
It is.
You saw it.
Yes.
It's everywhere. You can just easily get it. If you can't even afford the money, somebody will buy and give it to you.
And for a guy like you, lost his parents, poverty, I mean, you're a prime candidate for that culture.
Yes.
Drugs.
I just had this conviction that it was not good. You know my Islamic background?
Yeah.
I knew it was not good.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't good. It will not create any good destiny for me. Mm-hmm. And so I'll go and buy for him. I'll buy marijuana. I'll light it for him. I know how to wrap it. He did everything possible for me to smoke and to take any other thing, but I did not. I never for once put the marijuana in my mouth to light it. I never did it.
Yeah.
I knew it was wrong. The guy can drink like fish.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
Every blessed day, if you stay with him, he's late now. If you stay with him for 10 years, every day he's drunk.
And that's where you lived.
And that's where I lived.
And so when you're thinking about the ministry and you're thinking about, God, I don't want to be a pastor, a lot of that is just wrapped up in,
yes,
I just want to know where my house is. I want to know where my food is coming from.
Yes.
I want to be provided
I just
for.
need security.
And there was a, I would say even the enemy is putting something in your brain at that point saying, if you follow this calling, you're not going to be provided for.
I think that was where you are correct. Because I didn't see any potential success in it. I didn't see potential in working for God, totally dependent. Like you don't have a hope.
Mm-hmm. Because at that point, you're equating hope with the things that you have.
Yes.
And it makes all kinds of sense because all of those things have been taken from you.
I have never seen the pastor's voucher.
Right.
But those days they will say, oh, it's voucher for teachers has come. Voucher for nurses has come. Oh, this, or somebody with a business can say, oh, this is what I make a month. But you can never meet a pastor and says, my salary is this.
Is it? I don't know.
So
God's working on you for like 3 years.
Yes.
And but there comes a point in your life where you can't escape it. God's call is on your life. And in these 3 years, you're seeing God move.
Yeah.
People are coming into the family.
Yes.
God is beginning to move, and you can't deny that the call is on your life.
Within that period, I got an outside room for free from a woman of the same tribe with me. So she says, okay, this is my brother. You can be in that room. And within that period, I had up to 8 other guys like my type. They came to stay with me. So I became like a father to them.
That's important.
Yes.
That's an important part of the story.
Yes.
That God, for what Shadonke had become to you,
yes,
now God is putting you in a position
yes,
to begin to learn.
You know, I'm figuring this as you're asking me. I became like a father to them.
Yes.
They were all dependent on me.
Yes.
What I eat is what we eat.
Yes.
So they will literally ask me, what do we eat today? They will literally ask me, I'm going out, but I'll come back.
Yes.
Or I am somewhere like apprentice to drivers. They were doing all sort of things. But I was still going to school under the supervision of Shudanke.
Yep. Who had become like a father
like
to
a
you.
father to me. So I consult from him.
Right.
To pass on to them. In the night, 8 guys in a single room. Whoever go to the bed first is the one that will sleep on bed. The first 3 people, they will sleep on bed. The rest will sleep on the floor.
God. Okay. I have to pause because last night we're sitting in this circle.
Yeah.
And you can explain better than I can, but the men that we were meeting with last night, they are over 16, what would you say? Are they called districts?
Yes, 16 districts.
Okay, and of those 16 districts, under those there are areas?
Yes.
And under
zones.
And under the areas there are zones.
There are zones, yeah.
And in the zones there are
cluster of churches,
towns.
Yes.
And in the movement, these men coach the area leaders.
Yes.
Who then the area leaders coach the zone leaders. And then the zone leaders are all connected to
the church leaders.
The church leaders.
Yes.
And so what the movement has become, like as I look back at that and I'm hearing you tell this story.
Yeah.
In like the earliest days, God is already coaching. He is fathering you.
Yeah.
To create in you this we talked about DNA yesterday.
Yes.
To create in you this DNA of what Shadonke is doing with you.
Indeed.
He is already starting to bring guys to you, and he's like, now I want you to. He is discipling you.
Yeah.
Jesus is giving you opportunities to learn and grow. Truly, if you're listening to this podcast, there's not a way that I can explain to you the scope of the ministry that is New Harvest. I can't. There's not a way for you to wrap your arms around the sheer amount of gospel kingdom work that has gone forth. Where,
Indeed.
and maybe in a minute we can talk about just the scope of what God has done and continues to do here. But even in the earliest days, before New Harvest is even a thing, you're in a borrowed room, a free room.
Yes.
Fathering.
Yes. 7 other guys. Making 8.
Arguing with God about whether or not you're going to be a pastor.
Yeah. That was the very time.
That's what's happening.
That was the very time.
And God is using all of it.
All of it. So, in 1998 December now, we were supposed to have a conference. And Shadanke called me and said, "Gentlemen, why don't you want to answer the call?" I said, "Which call?" I said, "I know you are struggling with it."
He knew.
"I can sense the call upon your life. You can do more for God. Don't you think that God uses broken things to just prove to the world that He can use anything?"
Wow.
So without fear or intimidation, God can use you. You can be a very powerful instrument in the hand of God. So I felt peace. And then he told me, "Okay, I want you to go and work with small churches. So I want you to move from this where we are. Go and pastor one small church, start small something, and see what God can use you to prove me whether I'm right or wrong. When you finish proving me, you cannot know whether you are called or not."
Yeah. But he knew you were.
He knew.
You didn't know you were.
Yeah, I was not sure.
He knew for you, though.
Yes. So I came to this place, this community where we are now, Sami. I was there assisting one pastor, and they start calling me assistant pastor. But I said, "No, I am kind of not a pastor.
No,
I'm here to help.
I'm just helping
develop the church." So in less than a year, the pastor has to run away from the calling, leaving me now to take care of the congregation.
You're it.
And I felt loved for the people because I didn't want to run away leaving them. I said, if I run now, what will become of them? My senior pastor has run away.
Yeah.
And since that man ran away, till today he never came back. He never came back.
How important is this part of the story? I don't want to run past that. Is that what you felt in that moment was love.
Yes.
For the people.
Yes, I say if I say I'm running away or I'm hiding or I'm not pastoring them because I'm not a pastor, because they are seeing in me that I'm a pastor. For them, as far as they're concerned, I'm their pastor. Some were far way older, some were in the 50s, 60s, and I was just a young man. So, and they are respecting me already. If I say, let's do this, they will do.
Yeah.
If I say, now service start, they look to me, they say, Pastor, are we to start now? If I say yes, they say, okay, Pastor said we should start. So I said, if I leave them, and they go astray, will God not hold me responsible?
Mm-hmm. And again, this idea of family.
Yes.
You've had a love birthed in your heart for them.
For them.
Yeah.
I used to come. Sometimes they do give me a room. I will sleep because that time all of this area was a bush. I'll come and they will say, Pastor, you will take that room. So tomorrow after service today, because if we have evening prayers, so we'll pray till 7, 8, they will not want me to go back because there was no motorbike, no bicycle, no nothing, no mobility, and this road was dark in the night, no electricity.
Yeah.
Even the city does not have electricity, let alone to say the village people will have it. We are not even thinking of it.
And it is dark here in Africa.
Yes.
I mean, it is.
And the war was still around.
Okay. So it's not even safe.
Yes. It's not even safe.
Yeah.
So that is how I made up my mind. Okay. If this is what God wants for me, so be it. I lay down my life.
How old are you when this happens?
I let it go. At that time, when I finally made up my mind, I was like 27.
Okay,
28.
so
thanks for listening this week. Next week, part 2 of Daniel's story. Again, connect with us, storiesoftheway.com. Drop us a line. Let us connect you with people who are seeing God do amazing things through just ordinary people, and they're learning to hear his voice in faith and obedience. Can't wait for you to hear the rest of this story next week on Stories of the Way.